Not all who wander are lost. Have you heard that quote before? If you have, drop me a little smiley emoji below. I love that. I love when I see those bumper stickers on the backs of cars because it's a reminder that it is in those moments where we seem to lose ourselves that we connect to the most inspiration and most incredible guidance. And that's what I want to talk about today. Are you intuitive? And if you feel like you're intuitive, then drop me a thumbs up emoji. I'm curious because there's a lot of people that I run into in the work that I do that maybe they call it trusting your gut, listening to your instincts, following those hints and nudges, synchronistic moments. They're not quite sure. They seem to happen randomly. But what if it didn't have to be random? What if it was something that you could consistently count on and really utilize as a sounding board to help make confident decisions, to help feel more sound in what you're doing in the direction you're going in? Hello, Teresa. Oh, I love the thumbs up. Fantastic. So, most definitely, we are going to dive into today what I share with my Mastering Intuition students. And my Mastering Intuition program is a way for you to develop your intuitive gifts. And I want to share with you what I share with them. So, the first thing I want to do is spoiler alert, yes, you are intuitive. We all have some kind of intuitive gifts, and they can be broken apart into different categories. We have different strengths and talents, but that's a topic for another time. Today, I just want to talk about how do you begin to consistently and confidently connect and ultimately strengthen those intuitive muscles, because it is like a workout. You want to use them. Otherwise, they atrophy. And then it's like, oh, well, am I really intuitive? Yes, you are. So here's what I want to encourage you to do. I love to make little acronyms because that's what we can most easily remember. I call them Irina's energy recipes. And by the way, if we haven't met yet, my name is Irina Miller and I'm an energy alchemist. It is my joy to curate and bring together the sacred practices and traditions that I've been learning since the 90s. We'll just say that, right? Was that 30 years ago? Holy cannoli. But I've been doing this for a while. It's my joy. If it is spiritual, if I can certify in it, educate in it, initiate in it, I will, because I am a seeker, a curious seeker like yourself. And I want to bring these practices to you so that you don't have to go all around the world and figure it out yourself. I want to bring them to you to make it easier for you. So let's talk about this. This particular acronym, I call it LOST. And here, quick backstory. Another reason I use the acronyms is because when we're in a state of fight or flight, we remember those acronyms more easily, like stop, drop, and roll. It's programmed into our subconscious in such a way that when we go into that primal fight or flight, we can remember it, because when everything hits the fan, it's hard. It's hard to stay calm, to stay grounded, and to confidently take that next step. So, when it comes to connecting and strengthening your intuition, we're going to use that acronym LOST. The first part of it, L, represents liminal. I love that word. Liminal are the in between moments, maybe those moments when we feel like we're lost, those in between moments where the veil is a little thinner. When could a moment like that be like? Well, dusk and dawn. That's a perfect example. Either time, I encourage you, whether it's in the wee hours of the morning or the evening hours as the sun is setting, go outside and simply sit. Because in those moments of transition, that liminal in between moment, that's when a lot of intuitive messages and inklings and nudges and hints come through. We're a little bit more open to it. You can even think about the I keep going back to that word transition, because when I had my brick and mortar yoga studio and I taught yoga, I really love to emphasize how, see you later, Teresa. Thanks for being here. I really like to emphasize the transition. So, take, for example, doing a sun salutation or even going to the grocery store. We might be focused on the pose itself. We might be focused on getting to the store. But next thing you know, we're in our car and all of a sudden we're there at the store. We're like, how did I get here? I must have gone on automatic pilot. That gets a little scary because we just end up where we need to go. So, those transitional moments, those are the moments where we can experience awe and joy, where we truly connect with our loved ones. That's why so many people, when they go on vacation, it takes them 3 days to finally unwind and relax. And they say, "Oh my gosh, I've got to leave in a day or two." It's like, I just got here. I just started to relax. Well, what if you could start relaxing on day one? What if you could be tuned into that all along? And that's where the liminal moments come into play, where you are present during the transitions, whether it's going to the grocery store or just being aware from, a downward dog to a chaturanga. You are present. So I encourage you to strengthen that intuition. Be mindful during the in between moments. Pay attention when you drive to the grocery store. Notice the sights and sounds. Sit outside during dusk and dawn. And there's even techniques you can utilize to develop your clairvoyance, your clear seeing during those moments. So, next part of this little recipe is the O. Observe. When people are in the transitional moments, they might say, okay, I'm going to be here, I'm going to be present, but they don't necessarily take into account their observation skills. And I want to encourage you to observe on a full sensory level. Let's say you're sitting outside at dusk. Notice the temperature of the air against your skin. Are there any birds singing or wind rustling through the leaves? Notice what you see. Are you seeing leaves or flowers? What color is the sunset? And then also, is there a particular, how do I want to say it? Particular knowing that you feel deep down inside? Like, I know it's going to be a good night. I know this is going to be a great week. You're just tuning into what you know to be true in that moment in time. Maybe it's gratitude. You know that you're so thankful for this moment, this safe, beautiful space to relax in. So that's the O, observe, and observe on that full sensory level. Maybe you even have a drink that you're drinking and you can kind of taste it, or smell the sweetness in the air, the honeysuckle. I have honeysuckle near my porch and I love smelling that in the late spring and early summer. So that's the O. So we have liminal, we have observe, and then S. S is speak. There's something powerful when you share your experiences. I guess it could also be S for share, but the power of speaking something, of naming it, to claim it, it takes, number one, the fear out of it. Because sometimes some of my students, when they come to me in the Mastering Intuition program, they're a little bit scared of their intuition. It's like, how did I know? How did I know that was going to happen? I had this dream and it came true, or I heard something and it really, like this, it really scared me. I don't want to see that. So how can you engage with it in such a way that you feel safe, that you feel like, okay, if this is something that doesn't feel good, I know how to protect myself. How do you move forward? Well, part of it is speaking it, because then it doesn't hold power over you any longer. It takes the fear out of it. And then it also, you name it to claim it, like, wow, I saw this little glowing kind of edge around the trees. Oh, that was kind of wild. Oh my gosh. Wow. Or maybe you just had somebody pop into your head while you're sitting outside at that moment of sunset and you called them and they said, I was just thinking about you. I was getting ready to text you. How did you know? You're tuning into your intuitive gifts. But by speaking it out loud and saying, wow, I knew to call them just at the right time, or I saw that glowing halo, or even journaling it is very powerful, because the second part of that, or the last part of the recipe, the T, translate, is what brings it all together. When you either journal and kind of speak into a book, so to say, what you've seen, or you share it with a friend, you can start to document and create your collection of data of what are these intuitive messages. Like, maybe you said, oh, I just had this strong tug in my stomach when I thought of my good friend, and so I called. And you realize, wow, they really needed me and they were thinking about reaching out, but they were hesitating. So you can write down in your journal, okay, strong tug in my stomach means call, make that call, listen. Or maybe you had a feeling like where you were talking with someone, and as you were talking with them, the image of a beach popped into your head. You're like, well, that's weird. And you ask them, let's say, have you been on vacation recently? Have you been around the ocean? And they say, oh my gosh, yes. How did you know? And you can write down, when I get the image of a beach in my head, person's probably been to the ocean recently, had that beach vacation. So you just take note of these, and that way you can translate it, because it is a bit like a game of charades when you use your intuition and you start to speak the intuitive language. It's not in English or your native tongue, but it's in signs and symbols and feelings and knowings and smells and sounds. It's amazing. This whole world of guidance is around you. You know, if you've ever seen those pictures of like, oh, my angel's up there doing this. You have a lot of friends in high places, I call them, a lot of angels and guides who are just so thrilled to be helping you, working with you, assisting you on your journey. And they're waiting. They're waiting for you to engage and to listen and to play, because you have free will. And if you decide that, I don't want to strengthen my intuitive gift, I don't want to, work with angels or guides, that's your prerogative. Yeah, prerogative? Purgatory. That's your prerogative. Oh my goodness gracious. I think I need more coffee today. I hope that this has been helpful for you. So, quick recap. How can you strengthen your intuition so that you recognize, yes, you are intuitive? Use that little L.O.S.T acronym, the 4 steps, liminal. Get into those in between spaces and pay attention. Oh, observe. What are you noticing on a full sensory level? Use all of your senses. Speak about it, whether it's to a good friend, whether it's to yourself and, your voice memo, journal, and start to translate it. So when you take action, could also be take action. When you take action on these little intuitive hits, notice and write it down like, oh, wow, this is what it meant. And then you are creating your very own dictionary for your intuitive language, because it will be different for each person. So if this has been helpful for you, please do make sure you love up this video, like it, subscribe to it, put on the notification so you can continue to get little intuitive guidance and inklings as you go through your week. It is my joy to share this with you. And if there are topics that you want to know more about, drop them in the comments, because this is for you. This is all about connecting you to your intuitive guidance system and helping you step into the life that your spirit and soul was called to do. All right. Have an amazing, amazing day wherever you are. And I will catch you all on the flip side. Mwah! Bye, guys.